Hello, welcome to the July 2025 Mystery Envelope Challenge with Inspiration Collaboration Design Team. My name is Michelle with Crafters Northwest, and I have a fun one for you today. Here are the 4 papers that were sent to me. They're all 4x6. Papers, of course, are two-sided, so there are many options. Let's see what Dawn's note says. Hello, friends. It's time for our July Mystery Envelope. This month, our challenge will be to create a scrapbook layout featuring photos from a festival, parade, gathering, or reunion. It's that time of year, right? I've included papers from the Country Woods collection along with floral charm. Feel free to mix in another floral collection of the colors if the colors in this one don't work for you. Happy crafting, Dawn. Would you believe that she didn't even know that Country Woods was my favorite? I'm going to start with the colorful leaf piece, and I'm going to cut 4 pieces that are 1/2 inch by 6 inches and set them to the side. I'm going to take the rest of that piece and these other 2 pieces and do some Cricut cutting for our title. Now I'm going to take this last piece and trim that at 1 3/8 2 times. The last piece is just short, but it'll work for what I want. I am bringing in the Scenic Adventure stamp and dies, and I'm going to use the tree line dies on each of these 3 strips of the Pretty Peacock DSP from Floral Charm. As you can see in this photo, which will be on the layout, the tree line gets lighter the further away you get. So I tried to repeat that with the papers. I do have some additional pieces cut with the Cricut and the pink weathered wood from Country Woods DSP. I wanted to save some of the DSP, so I trimmed what I needed, and I'm going to add them to some Whisper White cardstock. I made sure that the wood grain was going in the same direction on both pages. And of course, I am using my bone folder to spread the liquid Tombow glue. It gives great adhesion and it removes any lumps and bumps that you might get from the liquid glue. I have 4 strips of the blue and multicolored wood paper. I was going to use 4 strips like the colorful leaf paper, but I forgot to cut that. Luckily, I have more paper. So I'm going to add them on, making sure to add the photo placeholders using just a little bit of glue so that they can be removed easily when I get my photos. And yes, you will see there is a gap between the top blue wood paper and our pink weathered wood paper. But that's okay because I'm going to cover that. Here you can see all of the pieces that I have already cut with the dies in this set. I have backed many of them with some scrap cardstock to make them a little bit more stable and easier to handle. I am flipping my layout over so that I can still have a sizing guide, but not possibly ruin my page in the process. Now, this step has been sped up considerably. There are a total of 5 different papers, not counting the mountains, plus cardstock, and some of them have multiple rows of trees. So I am laying out each of the different tree lines to see how they fit together and make sure that I'm liking it. Some I cut apart to help them fit together a little bit better. I tape them back together with washi to hold them in place. And I just do this until I have everything to my liking. Once I get them to that point, I do go back and add some liquid Tombow off camera between each of the layers to make sure they stay where I want them. I do it this way so that I am not dealing with any accidental glue spillage or wanting to move the tree lines before I'm done completely. This way it's not as messy and it's easy to add that glue at the end because of the washi hinges that I'm creating. As you can see on these dies, there are some kind of mountains built in. And so when you trim some of the dies in the different spots or the die cuts, then the the ground line doesn't necessarily line up. So that is part of what some of this extra cutting and futzing is trying to line those up a little bit better because we don't want a giant gap. I did leave all of this in because I do think it's kind of fun sometimes to watch other people's process on how they get to an end point with something like this. So that's why I left that in for you. Now this most front layer of trees does get mini dimensionals along the ground line, and it just helps it pop up a little bit more. Okay, see that finger tap right there? That is me realizing that I didn't actually want to attach this blue paper earlier. So now I am peeling it off, and thankfully it comes off in one piece. Hooray! So I am going to do a little bit of trimming off camera before I attach this blue wood piece back to the front of the tree line. And I am making sure that that is straight, and then I'll trim off a little bit more from the bottom, and I will trim the sides as well so that it matches with the sides of the layout. Now, when I'm cutting the sides, I should have waited to cut the mountains themselves until it was attached to the page, because I did end up trimming them a little bit short and I had to go back in and glue some pieces in. Um, but, you know, hindsight and all that jazz. Now we just add this whole group to the page. So what I should have done is trimmed all of the trees and such, attached this to the page, and then trimmed the mountains to make it a little bit easier because it is thick with all of those layers of trees. All right, on to the left page. So I am going to start with trying to line these strips up so they are as similar as possible at the meet points. Then I'm going to glue them to the page, one directly at the edge of the pink paper and the other at the right edge of the page. And then I will add my photo placeholders in between. Again, using just a little bit of glue so that I can get them off when I get my photos. Now, I do have two trees. I will show you what we're doing with the smaller tree here momentarily. But the larger tree bit will line up along the bottom and left edge of this page. And can I just say, don't we all wish we could glue this fast? Like, that would be amazing. Anyway, so we add our glue, we add it to the page, and I am just going to tap this down. I'm not rubbing it. I don't want any glue to seep out. So now I am going to put together my title. JTF is the name of a family company, and we do a yearly picnic. And we usually do it on some of our property. It is a tree farm, but maybe not the way you might think it is. But all of these were cut on the Cricut. I did use thick white cardstock for the white layer. I used the brown wood paper for that middle layer, and then each line gets its own paper. So 2025 is that colorful leaf paper. July is the dark blue wood paper, and JTF is that multi-wood paper. I did add some foam tape to the back off camera because we all know that takes a hot minute. And I'm taking that little tree piece because I wanted that tree to weave in and out of my title, and I knew doing it with the full piece was going to be a problem. So I cut a smaller piece, knowing it would be a little bit easier to tuck in and around and whatnot. And watching me, you wouldn't necessarily think that it was any easier, but trust me, it was. So I kind of get it where I think I like it, try to make sure it's lined up, figure out that that's not quite right because my title is now crooked, and just kind of fix things. Now I am going to cut the tree along the 5 and the Y because I wanted this to look like it was just all one piece. I didn't want you to be able to notice easily that this was indeed two pieces. It doesn't end up that way, but I do like how it ends up. So I am just going to futz with it a little bit more until I get it how I like it. And then I will finally attach it to the page. I do end up putting one mini dimensional underneath the treetop because I don't want it to flatten against the page when it is in the page protector. Now I will add some neutral matte dots in both white and pecan pie. And I do it in a variety of spots along my layout. A lot over here by the title, some over the tallest mountain, and then some at the very bottom of the right page as well. Trying to kind of create a triangle type shape with those embellishments to keep the eyes moving. If I want more photos or to hide my journaling, I can easily add some flip flaps to this page. And that, my friends, is my finished layout for the July 2025 Mystery Envelope Challenge. Thank you, Dawn, so much for your great challenge. I also want to thank my viewers so much for taking some time out of your day today to see what I created. I hope you like my layout and that it's given you some inspiration. I would love it if you took a few moments to leave a comment, and please make sure you check out the rest of the team's videos too, as they have some great creations as well. I'll see you next month with the next challenge. Have a great day.